We have all watched in horror as the oil continues to gush into the Gulf of Mexico this summer. But Lansing is lucky to have Rick Preuss and his daughter Kirbay help us understand what is happening to the marine life in the oil spill's path.
Young children, as they grow up, locked within Michigan, can actually see an animal like this and become empathetic with what goes on our planet, from the oil spill, and that tends to be the tip of the iceberg, but all the ecological impact and damage that we put to our reefs are desensitized when we don't know what's going on out there. And it becomes sensitive when we realize that this particular animal we've seen behind here is being impacted in some severe way out there in our planet.
It's really interesting from my perspective because I grew up in this store. Rick's my dad, and I literally was almost born in here and then watched it grow. And to see kids come in from anywhere in Michigan to walk into the saltwater department and just be completely in awe at what this is, and to know that this is a part of the ocean, which over 70% of our Earth is this system right here, and to only see it for the first time in this pet store, for me, I see it every day, and for them, it's like a breath of fresh air to see that new perspective walk in each time. So yeah, it's really neat that right here in Lansing, Michigan, they have the opportunity to experience this for the first time.
In addition to raising saltwater fish, the Preusses grow their own coral.
I think there's like this forefront of both responsibility and capability that's amassed, almost like a comet going through. That's just starting now. So there's several dozen stores that understand the concept, have exercised the concept, and developed the idea of mainly just using captively raised corals. And like a trailing, there's more and more shops and more conscientious retailers that are discovering not only the right way to do it, but also the financially most successful way of actually marketing the idea of a reef tank. One, it's very palatable to the public. They love the idea that it's an environmentally friendly exercise. But two, we don't have to ship corals from all around the world. They're right here at our doorstep. So just like you wouldn't think about importing a philodendron, but instead you would go down to the local store and buy a philodendron, the same idea is here. There's no sense in pulling anything from the wild because, honestly, now that we've actually cultured corals in captivity, we have the most amazing collection of colors that you can see behind me that couldn't be possible in any one shipment from the ocean. Most corals are rather neutral or less appealing by nature, but there are the occasional croppings here and there that represent this, beautiful cornucopia of color. And so we can actually recreate that in our tanks without actually importing anything from the wild and do it in a very ambitious way.
I've had a few friends tell me, would you just stop watching this? Would you stop researching it? Because you're in a really bad mood afterwards. You seem so depressed and down. And I think that it's only fair to be honest with yourself for what you're feeling about this. And if you don't let it out, it's just going to kind of fester. And I mean, there is a point where you have to find that proactive space to go forward and to come into the lightness of hope, but also being honest with what is going on and what you're feeling.
What we have to be careful of is to not fantasize that these corals that we're raising in captivity are therefore going to be able to replenish our reef environments. It's far more of a complex issue than that. But until we truly, really understand how to reverse the ecological impacts, none of this particular effort is going to be particularly helpful.
Richard Louv wrote Into the Woods, dealing with nature deficit disorder. I went and saw him speak at MSU, he said a year or two ago. Get out and play in dirt. Connect with what is real. To have kids come in off a bus from a downtown area and be amazed, to even see this stuff, and turn the TV off and get to what's real, and you know, experience it yourself firsthand and experience it with kids when they're younger so that they develop an appreciation for it. And what starts here can, you know, trickle and create that mass effort to do what's better elsewhere.